there. So at some point, I think they're going to put it on the screen. Okay, so we are live, and you guys, as people start to come into the room, it'll pop up eventually. But for anybody who is already here, we have the esteemed, the one, the only Dr. Kia James from the Relationship Boosters on. Welcome, Dr. James. I'm so glad you can join us today. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well, but I appreciate you joining us today. And I need for you to do most of the talking. So you got some hot tea over there?
I do actually. I just went and got some. How about that? How about that?
Look, wait a minute. Is that a hot
I'm
Kia
ready.
or a hot toddy?
Oh no, I didn't put nothing extra in there. Not today. Not this time. Maybe next time. I
Oh
gotta be
boy.
clear because I don't
Okay.
know what you're gonna hit me with. I gotta be clear.
I watch stars who were real famous back in the day, the Eddie Murphys and people like that. Rick James, Richard Pryor. They talk about how they did movies and they were drunk or high the whole time and don't even remember.
See, I believe it. Them 70s and 80s, the more you hear, the more you know how
Oh my
wild it was.
God. Yeah, because Richard Pryor even said that that movie Car Wash back out in the 70s, I think it was the role that he played. Actually, it was based on Reverend Ike, but he said he was coked up the whole time.
I believe it. And they were functioning like nothing was going on.
I know, right? I know. So, but anyway, what I don't know what it was like when you were growing up, but my parents' generation, you could have the flu, Ebola. It didn't matter what you have. You could have anything, and they would tell you to drink some orange juice, eat some chicken noodle soup, that triple six or that witch hazel, or a hot toddy.
Yes. Look, and I'm still doing the chicken noodle soup.
Really? Kid, you're not doing the hot toddies, are you?
I did have a hot toddy yesterday. My husband made that. So I will eat that. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hey, so we are I see people kind of going in and coming out, and people kind of come and go, Kia. But just want to introduce Dr. James for those of you who are here. I can't see those who are on watching us on YouTube, but I can see that the YouTube is up. Dr. James, when did we work together, Kia? It was like 15, 16 years ago. It's been a while.
I think it might have been maybe starting in like 2009-ish
Oh my
to
God.
I don't know, what year did you decide to roll out on me? Um,
You
until
mean
then,
what year did you encourage it? Like, yeah, go do your thing, Alfonso. You got this. For some people who don't know my background or some of my background, I was actually the lead case manager on the psychiatric unit at Laurel Hospital, and I was the I call it the psych ER, in charge of the psych ER at Laurel Hospital, and we had what was called psychiatric evaluators, and Dr. James was one of the evaluators. Very strong background. She's taught at a couple universities, but Dr. James, I'm going to have her come on. I have her tell you a little bit about herself. So, Dr. James, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
sure. I mean, he shared a little bit. I did work under him at the hospital. He was my supervisor. And then when he left, he graciously gave me the supervisory position. So then I was a supervisor at the hospital. And then I also do a lot of I do a lot of work with couples and people who want to have relationships. So still mental health therapist doing things on the mental health end, but really focusing on helping people have the relationships they desire.
Okay. Hey, Kia, can you tell us a little bit about the relationship boosters and what you have going on? And Mary, if you can put that flyer up, I would appreciate it. But can you talk about the relationship boosters? There it is. The
Yes.
relationship boosters and what's going on there?
So myself and Dr. Trotman, who's a sex therapist, we host an event called Black Marriage Week, where we help couples to thrive. So this year in June 26th and 27th, we have Black Marriage Week coming up. It's an event where couples get to have couples learn how to communicate better. There's couples yoga. There's a rideology where you get to learn to ride your partner, fully clothed, all that. And also like some art therapy. Of course, we feed people, so people like the lunch, the lunch, and the
Absolutely.
and the wine tasting. So we got date nights embedded, but it's an event to really strengthen the relationship. A lot of people say that when they leave, that they feel more connected, and that's the goal. So, we've been doing that for a couple of years. But other than that, we do intensives and relationship, marriage therapy, and relationship counseling for one. So that when you come in, maybe sometimes your partner doesn't want to come in, but you still need help in your relationship. So we help people with relationship coaching for one.
Oh, okay. Now, am I mistaken, Kia? Didn't you do a cruise one year?
I sure did. And we have another cruise coming up too. We got a cruise coming up in August. All about intimacy. So what women want intimacy, he wants physical intimacy. So we're gonna be talking about that on the boat. We love boat cruises, a couples cruises on the water, just because the water is nice, and on top of that, you get to focus on each other. There's no phones. There's nobody who needs you, because you can't do nothing at sea but connect with your partner. Okay, so I'm all about cruising.
Wait a minute. What do you mean physical intimacy? There's another kind?
Oh yeah, so there's five. Look, five. The emotional intimacy.
I thought it's only sexual intimacy. You mean there's something else? You know I'm a guy, so I only know about one.
I know you a therapist too, so you playing in my face right now.
So what are the other ones you all talk about up there, Dr. James?
The emotional, the intellectual intimacy, the experiential intimacy, like doing things together, the whole idea that you can connect with each other mentally first, like you connect with each other thinking like how do they say, mentally stimulate me, that type of thing.
Oh,
Like all of that.
mental stimulation. Look, I'm a guy. That went right over my head. Mental stimulation. Really? There's something other than sexual stimulation? I mean, when
Absolutely.
did this happen?
Look, and y'all like it too. Because let y'all have somebody who you feel like is clueless and doesn't connect, and you got to do a whole lot of explaining and backstory, and y'all be like, you know, the bedroom is fun, but I don't know if it's going beyond that.
You used to have a therapist. I'm supposed to know that part. I was a man first, Dr. James. So I got my education from the street, okay? There's only one kind of intimacy. That is sexual intimacy.
So that's the most important part.
Oh, my goodness. But anyway, Dr. James, I did an event for her was it a couple years ago now, Kia, in DC? And I will be part. I'm saying I'll be part of this event. We still have to make sure the schedule. Okay, don't lock me in there, Dr. James. I mean, I got to make sure everything is working right, okay?
Okay.
Oh Lord! But she puts on a good event. Kia, tell us a little more about yourself. Where'd you go to school? And I know you taught at one, maybe two universities.
Yeah, so well, I went to school at the American School of Professional Psychology, graduated from Bowie with my undergrad, and then I got my doctorate in counseling psychology and my master's in professional counseling at the American School of Professional Psychology as well. And I have taught at Trinity University, the Chicago School. I feel like I taught someplace else, but mostly master's level students.
Okay.
learning how to become counselors, because doing like multicultural counseling, which is my thing, is how I got into the Black Marriage Week. Honestly, because I do a lot of cultural teaching about different cultures, and I
Oh,
also do training for therapists, helping them to understand how to work with Black couples and also how to work with interracial couples. So, uh, teaching therapists to get so they can get their CEUs and also understand like different nuances that they need to be mindful of. Being in Carol Ann, when we went to get training for marriage therapy, what we found is that there was a lot of information about white couples,
uh-huh.
and they did not have information about Black couples. And I'm like, so we're here for this training, and whenever they start talking about Black people, y'all gonna look at us for the answer. So clearly, we need to do some research behind
Oh,
that.
wow.
Number one, and the other thing is the trainer was like, yeah, so we did do some research on the inner city in Baltimore, and we found that. And I was like, okay, so the only Black people that you have researched is the inner city of Baltimore. And being in this area, we know that you can go up the street, and Baltimore is so different from DC that it's
Yeah.
crazy, and the surrounding areas. So just to have the idea of we did this small sample of this very specific population does not give that we understand how to work with Black couples, and what are the things
Oh,
that only happen for couples that are in Baltimore versus Black people, across the country. Like, what are those differences? And they couldn't speak to that.
oh,
So
cool.
we did a
Cool.
lot of research around that. Carol Ann did a lot of research around sexual intimacy, and also women in menopause and relationships, and women in the church and relationships. So we do this work because we like working with couples, but we also are into the research behind it and understanding like what makes relationships work. So
Good for you.
um yeah, so all of that is.
Okay. That's cool. When I was dating myself, I was in graduate school in the 90s. And I remember learning all the theorists, Freud, Gestalt, all of them. And there was not a Black one. And it became relevant when I started doing counseling, psychotherapy. So many people were looking for cultural relevancy in their counselor, and there were just none of us there. And, and
Mhm.
and and I had people say, "Hey, Alfonso, you need to go up to Bethesda, man. You do good up there. You're a minister and everything else." I said, "No, I want to stay in my community because there are just not a lot of people who look like us."
Mhm.
And that really does make a difference in helping profession when you know somebody doesn't just understand the theories behind it, but somebody who can relate culturally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
that's so important, because of that disconnect of you're going through something, and then you have to explain a cultural component that like most people would fully understand and who were familiar with the culture, but now you're with somebody who doesn't, and that can be hard because you're going through something difficult and you're trying to navigate that, not this basic component that you
yeah,
I shouldn't have to
yeah.
explain.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I'll be putting out more information about the relationship, the marriage.
Yeah, the
Model,
blackmarriageweek.com
Black
is the
marriage. Is what is? Can you put that on the screen now?
blackmarriageweek.com,
Blackmarriagegroup.com.
blackmarriageweek.com.
Blackmarriageweek.com. Barry, can
Mm-hmm.
you put that on the screen so people can see it? Blackmarriageweek.com.
Yep. And you can join June 26th and 27th. And Alfonso is definitely going to try his best to make sure that he is on the panel talking about mental load.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. She got it up there. Thank you, Mary. Okay. So let's get into the conversation, Dr. Kia James. Let's go there. There are certain things that I have found is so difficult mentalities to break, or what we would call maladaptive cognitive paradigm modalities. And one of the most difficult is to try to get women I'm saying that specifically, to get women to get out of that relationship where you know that man is married or he's with somebody else. And so many of the women that I treat are actually involved in a dynamic like that. And I said to one of my patients recently, if that man were to pass away, you can't go to the funeral. Your name is not going to be on the program. His life insurance is not going to you. you're not getting anything, especially if you're in a community property state like Maryland, where everything is split 50-50. But the mindset of trying to get women out of relationships like that, I thought as a preacher it was hard to get folk to stop sinning and accept Jesus Christ. That was one thing. But man,
let me find out.
Trying to get women to get out of those relationships. And I'm not sure about you, Dr. James. I hear so many things like, well, I'm old, nobody else wants me. Or I have this condition, nobody else would want me. There are just so many different excuses that I hear women espouse to me about why they stay there. And from my perspective, and I don't know how you do yours, Dr. James, I try not to go into psychotherapy when I'm doing couples counseling, but inevitably we have to go there to understand why some women make that choice and constantly seek those relationships, stay in those relationships. And what I find, and Kia, please, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I find that a lot of it boils down to that woman not knowing her value. And it was recently that one of my patients, this guy was coming on to her and told her that he's married. And she said, "Hey, I'm an Entrée. I am not a Sharable." I said, "Oh, I can do something with that right there." What have you seen in your travels with women like that?
I would say something very similar. A lot of them do not know their value. They do say things like, or they, and many of them have heard from their family members, like, all men cheat, or, you'll never have somebody who's really truly just about you because they're not able to, or there's something wrong with you. And that's why, people feel like, okay, well, I haven't been able to have a good partner, so I'm gonna just get with this person who's already married because I know that I'm not going to be successful. All of these things, I think, help people to get into that type of relationship and stay in that type of relationship. That many times, when you ask them on the surface, they'll be like, I'm good with it. Like, I know that they're married and I get the best of them because we get to go out and have fun together. Like, they kind of rationalize like all these reasons why it's so much better to be a side chick. But at the end of the day, when you start drilling down and asking more specific questions, they want to be prioritized. Well, how are you going to be prioritized when you are a secret? Like, there's no way for you to be prioritized. And at this point, you're not even put in the obituary as a special friend. Like, you are absent because you weren't here for 10 years and everybody knows that you were just not married and all this kind of stuff, right? You are somebody who is not supposed to be here. So yeah, I think that a lot of women do kind of like not realize that they can have more.
Yeah.
Either because of their own selves or because this idea that all men are dogs and all men cheat. Some of those ideologies, I just think, keep people in those kind of situations.
Wow. Yeah, I hear that too, Kia. But you said something I really like to talk about a little more. Rationalize. When and that's a word that we use in therapy. Basically, it's justifying something that ain't justifiable.
Right.
But I hear people rationalize and Kia, oh my God, like I said, I know I'm dating myself. But if I hear one more time, like my deceased moms say, I swear for God, I'm going to lose my mind up in here. Well, Mr. Lewis, you don't understand. He and his wife, they're just roommates. They're just...
He doesn't even really like her anymore. He's tired of her. All the things. And it's just like, the crazy part is being on the other side of that. You already know that they probably have some kind of relationship problems and they're not talking. And so now he's dating you and not, prioritizing his relationship. But what I find is, because in the research says only 3% of people actually leave to be with the person they have an affair with. 3%.
Ooh,
so it's
3%.
very unlikely that you as a side chick are going to become a main chick. So let's just leave that there. And then on top of that, Let him get busted, okay? Then you are dirt, okay? Like, I'm so sorry. I want to be with my wife. Like, this was all a mistake. You try to call their phone. Look, they done changed their number. They done blocked you.
God.
Like, but if that was the reality, if he hated his wife so much, then why is he still there? And I'm sure they'll give you all the reasons why. Rationalize, well, we got kids, or it costs a lot of money to leave your wife, so I'm gonna just be with her on paper. We're not really good like that, but not like me and you are good. Like all of these things that get said, that at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, you find out that is not the true story, and there's a lot more to it.
So Kia, I gotta ask. Let me see, Lisa. Hey, cuz, is it possible the women want only the fun and none of the work, and don't care about playing seconds? Yeah. Somebody said 3%. Wow, yeah, 3%. But yeah, Lisa, that is possible. Once again, I think that's rooted more in not knowing your value, because if you're in it for fun, at some point, now here's the thing, women, don't throw anything at me through this computer. As we get older, men, we feel like we can be a player forever. But women, y'all the ones who got the biological clock, who looks at, oh my goodness, I'm this age, that age, I've been spending this much time with that man. Going into it, that time is winding down. And eventually you need more in life than fun, sex, or whatever else. So a man who's 75 years old still thinks that he can pull somebody who's 20. It's just the male narcissism. But it's not the same way with women.
Well, I don't know. I see the women out here pulling the young men too. So.
Talk to me, Dr. James.
The women are just a little bit more savvy with it. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm sorry, but I see a lot of women out here doing a lot of things that men be like, yeah, women are not. No, the women got a whole lot plethora. They got a whole roster out here too. However, what I will say is they say those things like, I just want to have fun. But the problem is when the rubber meets the road and they are not chosen. Like, oh, you know what? I got to do something with my family. Then they're like, well, I thought we were doing X, Y, and Z. So the fun becomes a problem because they're not a priority still.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. I like that. My wife said before, maybe like, I think she said it when we were dating. She said, Alfonso, eventually a woman's heart is going to go where her vagina goes. And I hadn't really thought about it like that. Men don't connect through sex that way. Sex for us is like a good time or whatever else. But she said ultimately a woman's heart is going to go where her vagina goes. I said, yeah, so many, probably 99% of the cases that I've worked on, patients I've seen, where she was the other woman, they start off by saying it's just about sex. Then they use that phrase, but I caught feelings later on. Do you hear that, Kia?
Yeah, I do think that happens more frequently with women, where it started off one way and then they have feelings. But the thing that's weird about it to me is that men present differently. So men are not going to be like, I caught feelings. Men are just going to do some old wild stuff.
Yeah.
And try to mess up your situation. I also know women who are very transactional. Because they've been hurt or they want to make sure that they're not put into a situation. So they just use men. And honestly, being intimate with them almost makes them feel like they're able to master the men, and therefore helps them to feel more comfortable with having the roster of a whole bunch of people.
Wow.
So I think it depends on the person. So, but I do think that more frequently women are people who maybe catch feelings more than men when they say that when they say it's just supposed to be this sexual transaction and that's all. But I have seen it both ways, where men catch feelings, where they, end up in that situation. And I've seen women who are just straight transactional. And it's just like, look at, oh, I don't like this man. Now he into me. Like, why is he into me? I told him what it was. So
yeah. So that's interesting, Kia. You talked before about rationalizing that. Now you're talking about the transactional aspect of being the other woman. And if you can talk a little more about that, I would appreciate it. But I have found, and once again, I certainly want to hear what you have to say. I found that even in the transactional aspect of that kind of dynamic, I find that more often than not, that woman does catch feelings or she forgets what the place is. And she starts making demands. Well, we're not together on Valentine's Day. Can you at least have breakfast with me or something like that? Do you think that even when it's transitional, that at some point it does transition over to that woman catching feelings for that man that she knows she can't have anyway?
Um, so I think it really does depend on the woman, because there's some that will always just be straight transactional. But I do think that there are women who get into a situation and they really wanted more in the first place, but they're not necessarily 100% honest with themselves. Or even if they feel like, okay, I'm gonna be able to keep it at this level, and things progress, and they're like, okay, I want more. But it goes back to what I was saying before. People are acting like it's okay to be a side, because when you have a conversation, they may be like, oh, it's great to be a side chick, but then it's like, well, you want the priority of Valentine's Day. That's not
Yeah,
yours. That's the main chick's holiday. You don't get that.
yeah,
You get what is left over. And I think that the part they miss, because they get caught up into, well, I'm just having fun, and I get to have all the good experiences. The reality is that you're getting the leftover experiences that have not been promised to the main person.
ooh,
So
ooh.
it's not that you're just getting these great experiences. Yeah, we're going to Dubai because we can't be here. Um, so I just think there's a lot to it, but the mindset of some of them leads them to feel like they are a priority because of some of the things that they've told themselves, and they not really analyzing the full situation.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Wow. And you know what I've how do you know if there's a side chick? Lisa said, how do you know if there's a side chick? Lisa, I'll say this, and Dr. James already alluded to it a little while ago. Men, we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit. It is so easy to rob a man because our routine stays the same. When a when a man has a side chick, we oh my goodness, I don't want to say it like we're not smart enough. Because women, man, y'all do it in a way, y'all do it in a way I've never seen before. Men, because we are such creatures of habit, eventually we're going to do something to slip up to show our hands. And here's the thing, and it's part of the narcissism with men too. And I don't know if women are like this, Dr. J. When men like to have trophies of their conquests.
hmm.
I've seen men get caught because they had a video on their phone. I've seen men get caught because they had a bra or underclothes or something like that, and they'll keep it in a very conspicuous place. And I see them get caught like that, Lisa. But the women, man, I don't want to say too much here because I ain't trying to give anybody a formula on how to do it. But I've had women say how they do things with this side guy. It blows my mind. Even my doctoral work in forensic psychology, I never learned some of that stuff. Okay, but men, Kia, I don't know what your thoughts are. Men tend to stay in that one track mind, that zone, where if you study him long enough, you'll see some signs. What are your thoughts, Kia?
I agree with that. And because women are many times in tune with what's happening with their partner, because I think they were socialized in that way to kind of like take care, make sure they're good. So you know that when things change. And many times when I've met a woman who her husband has had an affair, she knew, but didn't say anything, or tried to make it like it was something else, or even got talked out of it. But she knew that something was off. So it's like
Okay,
you pay attention to your gut and your intuition, and you figure out like what is that about, and don't just kind of like poo poo it like it's not a big deal.
yeah,
Uh, that's one thing I will say. But yeah, because men are more creatures of habit, and women are very creative. Is the word that I'll use.
See, when y'all say things like that, it's like it's a book out there that you don't want to let the men know that there's a handbook.
But in the song I play sometimes for some people, I don't know. This is more of a Southern song. It's called but the Cleanup Woman, right?
Yeah,
but it's the Cleanup Man. Willie D made the Cleanup Man, right? And he's talking about but it's the theme of the cleanup woman, and basically it's like the maintenance man. He talking about, you went to work and I'm here being the emotional support for your wife. And so it's like a whole, like I done slid in and did X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I mean, we can't pretend like women are innocent, because they either try to act like, women are innocent and men are not. No, there's a mindset that leads people to do things that are not beneficial for their relationship, and then they have these side relationships. So
oh my God, my mom used to play that song, just making it easy for the cleanup woman. I never knew what that song meant until I got older.
And look, you see all them songs that are affairs, and be like,
yeah. I didn't know what that was about until I got older. Okay, and here's the part, Kia, to that. I keep running into this. Now this, everybody who comes to see me, they know, Alfonso, I am 100% actual factuals. I am straight with no chase, and I am not everybody's cup of tea. And I have told women, there is nothing special about your brand of vagina that's going to make that man leave his wife and his money and go to you. Because you have to understand, a man's God is his money. And at the thought of leaving her and she gets half for you, I'm sorry, I don't care how well you work your hips and thighs and everything else. There is nothing special about your brand of vagina that's going to make that man leave. And they say, "Oh, Mr. Lewis, oh my God, you hard, you just straight to it." Yeah, because I want you to understand, I may not know you as well as you know you, but I've been a man for 60 years on this planet, and I'm telling you, a man will look you right in your face while he's making love to you and promise you the world, but he ain't leaving his wife for you.
And I think that's true. And I think that they need to hear it, so that they know what you sign. I'm all into people understanding what they sign up for. Like, get the informed consent and understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. Because at the end of the day, you're many times, like I said, you're not going to be the one who's chosen. And it is, let me fit you into where you fit into my life. It's not like I'm creating space for you. Yeah. No, I'm putting you in gaps that already exist. So you're a filler. Yeah. But yeah, and the idea is to make you feel comfortable enough. And I don't necessarily think, so let me be clear about this. I don't think that it's so strategic and manipulative that it's just to do you wrong. But I do think it's like, in this moment, you are a priority and you are special and blah, blah, blah. So I'm giving you what I'm feeling in this moment. But this moment has nothing to do with what's happening outside. And on top of that, people don't understand how they're going to feel differently, especially if their real life, because this is a fake life. This is like a fantasy. When their real life is in jeopardy because of the fake life. Many times people be like, because they're not thinking about it. First of all, many men are not thinking they're ever going to get busted. And I don't understand what that thought process is, but okay, they're never going to get. So then when the reality comes and they're confronted, they're like, oh no, they'll leave you standing on the side of the road. And I literally mean standing on the side of the road.
Yeah. Wow. Well, here there's I'm sorry if anybody's watching. I'm not a fan of Tyler Perry. It's like when you've seen one movie, you've seen them all. But there was one of his movies. I know Gabrielle Union was in it. What is that movie? Where was it? I think it was Layla Rashawn dating the married guy. Was a white guy who was like, had his family owned this company, and he was telling her how it's all going to be good, we're good, and she went so far as to berate her husband and tell her husband how her man is all this and all that. And when the wife found out, he lost everything. The family that prays together. Lost everything. And there was that scene I remember in the movie where she was like, but honey, now we can be together. And he looked at her like, what are you, stupid or something? I was never leaving my wife. Yeah, and it was just that scene in the movie that I think encapsulates what a lot of women in that situation feel like. Ultimately, he will leave her. Somebody said, yep, Lisa, he dropped her. He dropped her. Kia, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I have long taught that women and men, love, for a woman, love is finite. For a man, it's a concept. Men falling in and out of love every day, but we protect what we value. So when a woman says, oh, well, Mr. Lewis, he told me he loved you. Okay, big deal. He told his dog he loves his dog too. But he doesn't value you because he protects what he values. He values that money, that coin, those coins he's making. So what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you. There's a lot of stuff that's protected and you are not it. Because if you were protected, like I said, you would not be left out there at the drop of a dime.
Wow.
And that's with the money or with the partner. Because sometimes it looks like it's only about money, but they do want their part. Because they could have been left.
Yeah.
They could have been left, but they decided not to. Instead, they decided to create this whole situationship over here, right? Ooh. Why didn't they leave?
Yeah.
If they hated her so much, and people can come up with all the reasons, but when people really want to leave, they leave.
And that's what I say. Okay, Joy said he flat out told her, "I'm not leaving my wife."
Right.
And Kia, please help the sister tribe out there to understand. A man is not leaving her and that money, especially when there's money and stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Why is it a component?
Yes, so you used that term rationalize before. It has been my job to be the cleanup man, the cleanup therapist, because ultimately it's going to end the way I told them. And I give credit. Some women have come back and said, Alfonso, it happened 100% the way you said it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm coming back because I want you to know I appreciate that you were trying to help me. I'm not an I told you so kind of thing. That's not what we do. But for it to play out, and they say, well, how do you know? Do you have like a crystal ball or something? No, men are just not that complicated. We are not leaving our money. So, excuse me, help us to understand with all the history that's there, why do you think women keep going for that lie when some of them already know it's not going to work out because they've seen this play out in their lives before?
I was about to say, I'm going to say it. Why do people...
come on, Dr. James. Break us off a piece of knowledge here, Dr. James.
That's bad because I'm going to say, why did people say that Trump was going to do what he did when he did the same thing last time? I mean, people believe what they want to believe. Yeah. And on top of that, some people are very good at just saying the things that you want to hear. And if you're not exposed to certain lifestyle, maybe you think that you don't understand that a man that has money will fly you to Dubai, and it's actually nothing to them. And I have seen men be more willing to give you money and pay for different things because they feel good about them. You don't understand. You think, it's about me. No, I feel good about myself to be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, it leaves my heart intact because I'm not really giving you my heart. I'm doing cash, and that's So I think that sometimes what is equated as important to women is not necessarily truly what's important to men. And honestly, my dissertation research, I did this component where women assumed what men wanted and they were frequently wrong.
Oh, okay.
So the idea that you're hearing from women what men want, right? And you're thinking all of these things are so important, and they're really not, because men, if they give you their heart, that's a whole other component that I think that I've seen men try to avoid that. I've seen them I've had a man tell me that he used cash to avoid that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. My goodness. If I had a nickel for every time, Kia, I've talked to women and they say, Alfonso, I get to wear Gucci, Louis, and everything else. Yeah, but see, when if that marriage breaks up, then you get none of that. So that Louis, that Gucci, or whatever else you rocking, none of that's going to pay your bills when this relationship is over. But I wonder, Kia, do you think like realistically, because we talked about women rationalizing, do you think that on some level that woman has trained herself, retrofitted herself to believe that, yeah, I think he is going to leave? Like, do you think that there are some who honestly believe that, or is that just more rationalization and lying to themselves?
Um, I think that they go hand in hand, but I think that they've said it enough that they actually believe that he is going to leave one day, or that they're going to be important, or that they are more important than their family. Like, I think that they truly believe that. Yeah, because
Wow.
they've kind of like said it to themselves over time. Many times they have other women who will kind of look at it from that perspective of like, yeah, he wouldn't, like, it seems like you're more important than his wife. Like, you're with him on all the trips. She ain't really doing nothing with him.
Yeah.
He's buying you this and that. So if she was all that, he would be doing that for her. Like, I don't see that. But what's real funny? This one person I know, the man, she was with the man before he got married.
Okay.
Then he got married, right? And now she's a side chick. And she's still thinking, and I'm
Oh.
just like, he didn't select you from jump. Like, can we
Oh.
look at this? If he
Wow.
actually wanted you, he had an opportunity to select you, and he didn't. He selected somebody else. Now he's hit with you, and she's like, well, she just isn't as friendly. She's just so mean to him, and she does, she, of course, he's giving you all the things that he hates about her, as y'all are having a good time or whatever. But at the end of the day, you weren't selected, and you still not selected. He put you where he wanted to keep you, and you're
Wow.
still there.
Wow. Oh, that part right there. I'm working with somebody, and when I say she is a wonderful woman, absolutely wonderful, and she got told the same things. Oh, he and his wife are just roommates or whatever else, only to find out that he's with multiple.
Yep.
And when I say multiple, I mean multiple women. And the surprise wasn't just that it was another, it was that there were so many others. And thankfully, and she's, when I say she's been doing wonderful with her life, this is like one of the last hurdles she has to get over. But I think what breaks her heart is that he was doing everything to convince her that, yeah, this is just, we're just roommates now. But to find out that once again, he did the thing that men do. You go to sleep after you gave that woman the code to your cell phone. Listen, everybody, there is a hidden folder in your video and your pictures. Put the daggone thing in hidden and put another password on it, okay? Men, I'm talking to you. Stop being so stupid. But she found out here that there were multiple. And I think what broke her wasn't that there was another, but that there were others.
Yeah.
Others.
And
Sad.
if he is cheating with you, please don't think that that's it. Like, what people do
I'm
the
sorry.
things that
Yeah,
they
I'm
do.
sorry. Say that again. Say that one more time.
Look, if he is cheating with you, expect that there's more, because
Let
people
me
do the things that
sit
they
back.
do.
I'm gonna sit back on this. Go ahead, rock it, Kia.
You're
I'm
so
just sit
stupid.
back. You do your thing, Kia. Go
It's
ahead.
like, if you know that somebody is doing one thing and that's what they're good for, and sometimes people are in a bad spot and that's their coping skill, right? When they go through bad times because they haven't developed better coping skills, they find outlets. Some people find outlets for cheating and having, relationships with people, but the likelihood of they've convinced you to agree to be a second person, then why wouldn't they convince other people to agree to that too?
Oh my goodness.
So that they can enjoy their life and not have to deal with whatever the stressor that they're running from. Because many times it's something that they're not dealing with, and it's that's just one of the worst ones. Because people talk about like being a workaholic. Like some people become workaholics, and that is their side chick. You know what I mean? But some people get an actual side chick.
Oh,
so
go ahead, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's just really interesting to see how that all plays out, and then people are surprised. But it's like you're surprised, but you signed up for it. So I'm just like this, and probably people get upset with this part too. Like if you sign up for, be okay for what you signed up for, because we're gonna talk about like this is what that lifestyle looks like.
Yeah,
like you're never gonna be the number one because you signed up for that. And you need to be okay with that. Ooh. Whether you number 2, 3, 4, 10.
Ooh,
I mean that's what it is.
Dr. Key, I have had women, I've had men say, and once again, it's that male narcissism. Joyce, we only get what we allow. Yes, I've had guys say that they've used the term trained, and I feel we talk about grooming, but they said I have her so well trained. They actually have their side chick come to functions with them and their wives just to stick their chest out and come back to the fellas and boast about it. I don't know if you've seen that.
Somebody told me they did that the other day. I don't remember who, but somebody told me that they did it the other day. Absolutely, that happens. You got the wife in the room with the side chick and maybe even a bartender that you've been flirting with too. You got a whole rack of people in here and you're enjoying yourself. But it only takes for that one, because when you get that one chick that's time enough for you. And I've seen situations where the one woman have found out you done dated a whole rack of people, and so she done got into your phone, invited all of them to the house to show up at one time, and she'll be the only one who don't show up, watching it from afar. Like I mean, it's like if you want to live a Tyler Perry lifestyle, go ahead and do that, because at the end of the day, you just never know who's gonna be knocking on your door. It's a lot that goes on with this side chick business. And then half of them, these men that had the side chick, now let the wife have the side dude, and they gonna have fall out on the ground like somebody to murder them. And I'm just like, how you gonna lay on the ground when you out here being crazy wild yourself?
Yeah. And women, I know it's hard to hear. Men view women as property. It's not equal. It's not the same. In fact, I did a video on my YouTube channel once, and I talked about that. And this guy left a comment when I said men treat women like they're not equal. And his whole comment was, well, they're not equal. That's why we do it. But for a man, and you said it earlier, women are raised to believe that all men cheat. When a man gives his heart in that sense that, okay, it's you and me, women get cheated on. You all figure out how to get beyond it. You cheat on that man, he's going to get his Glock, his 9, and somebody's going to get shot. I have been on so many calls in my travels, especially with crisis response, where there was a murder-suicide. It was the man who murdered his wife for cheating, then committed suicide, as opposed to the other way around. A man ain't going for that. And here's the thing too, Dr. J, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I tell the folk that I treat all the time, anytime you're the side chick with this man, you think he's leaving you, he's letting you know that I am a man that will leave you when a better side chick comes along. I don't understand that. Key and I are both board certified, trained psychotherapists, but I don't think you need to go to graduate school to understand that.
I don't know, because it's a lot of people. Well, I really think it's what you've been told growing up, what you believe. Because for some women, you could never convince them to be a side chick. You would never convince them. And even the men that try to say to them, like, you'll never find anybody else and all, they don't believe that because they know that they can have another man tomorrow. I think that it really has to do with your own personal belief system and what things you allow, because a lot of women are just not gonna go for that. And I think, and that sometimes is even hard for men, because they think that they're going to be able to get this woman, and she's like, yeah, no. First of all, I'm not ever going to be anybody's side chick. And on top of that, I don't care if you and your girl are having problems. Did you get divorced? Are you still seeing it? Like, but somebody asked earlier, how do you know? Well, first of all, how much time is dedicated to you? Does he actually have a lot of time to be fooling around? You know where how they be like at 10 o'clock? Do you know what your kids is? Do you actually know where your man is? Can you actually call him and nothing he always answer with no issues? Can you FaceTime and there's never a concern? Like, like all of these things that are like many times the women that don't necessarily have that going on, there's a level of connection that they can call or do anything. They can drop by at any time and nothing is ever an issue. And their husband is fine with that, right? There's no concern. There's no pushback like, oh, this is my time. Oh, I can't, like they're not dealing with that. So, I would say that many of them know that their husband does not have a side chick.
Wow. Wow.
And there is probably no time for that. And they probably monopolize a lot of their husband's time, not because they're trying to make them avoid having, a side chick, just because that's the way the relationship flows.
Wow. Kia, I treat a number of men. Boy, I wish, there was a time when there wasn't a HIPAA where confidentiality was guaranteed and all that, because there are some people I would just love to bring on this platform and let them tell it. But some of the men that I treat, they say, Alfonso, I don't even care about the vagina. It's the hunt. I love the thrill of the hunt. I love the thrill of, okay, I got this, so now let me get that one. Mm-hmm. And I tell people it's a dopaminergic release in the brain when that guy is on the hunt. If Dr. Kia James is family oriented, she has her husband and her kids and she ain't about that life. I love the chase, the thrill of the chase, to see if I can get it. And I tell those men and the women, I try to come at them from a perspective of having a moral center. Think about what you're doing to that family. For the men, for that wife whose husband finds out, and now she's got to tell her kids that we're breaking up. She's got to tell her husband. Do you ever think about that? That's the dog in him. Yeah, I guess so. But kid, do you ever, like, have you ever treated any of those men or the women and talk, because I talk to the women too about the damage that you're doing if it's found out. Do you ever use that technique, or do you ever find women or men who even care about it?
I think that people convince themselves that they are so gifted and skilled that they'll never get busted.
Wow.
I really that's the first go-to. I mean, some of them will share, like, they don't want anything to happen and all that kind of stuff. But I think that whole thought process that they're smarter than everybody else kind of supersedes everything. Or they deserve to have X, Y, and Z because of what harm has been done to them. And kind of like justify what they're doing. So I find that people find reasons to excuse poor behavior until they get pulled to the carpet, and then they want to, have a whole different conversation about it.
Wow. They think they'll never get caught.
They think they'll never. I mean, some people do leave before because they don't want to get caught and they feel like it's not. Like I've had a guy come to me and he's like, I don't even know how I ended up in this situation. I'm not the person who cheats. But it was a situation where he's having it. Usually, is I always tell people the blueprint. Like, okay, you have a problem with your relationship, and then there's an opportunity to outsource something because you're not getting it in your relationship. You don't want to rock the boat and ask or have a conversation or try to build it back in. It's easy to kind of just get it over here. And some people, and I've seen it not be intentional. Like, you don't went to a family, not a family reunion, but like a high school reunion and got hooked up with somebody that you already had a connection with before.
Yeah.
Like he's like, and you and your partner, you and your wife were already having difficulty, and this is just so easy to slip into because of the fact that there's a gap there already.
Wow.
And so then people be like, oh, I never thought that I would be the person in this position. I need to kind of like get my life back on track. And they haven't been busted at all, but they're just somebody who wants to fix it because they feel like they are not who they think that they're supposed to be, like they've done something wrong. So like, yeah.
Wow. Kid, Talana, man, Talana, you are so right. I literally just heard this the other day. You have a lot of women that have been cheated on, so they don't care about hurting the other woman. Talana, why did you say that? You are so spot on. I literally just heard it the other day. This woman was very matter of fact. I don't care about who gets hurt because nobody protected me. Man, Talana, wow. That's a sad fact, but yeah, you are so right. I have heard that.
Yeah, I definitely have heard that.
Yeah, man. Ooh, look, people chiming in there.
Hurt people.
Wow. So, Dr. James, how do you when okay? So let's look at that one right there. How do you, as a relationship therapist, how do you approach a woman like that? Because I find that when people come to therapy and they say that, I find that they really do care, that they're rationalizing, as you said. But what do you do in a situation like that?
I mean, we got to uncover to the part that they do care so we can have a real conversation. Because that whole shield of like, I don't care, I'm gonna just do what I want to do. I can do, like, that's a protective energy that allows you to feel comfortable doing it, and also protects you from being hurt, because now you're not going to be hurt. You feel like you have the upper hand. But let's talk about what you really want and what you're really blocking, because if you're in this situation, you're saying that you are okay with hurting other people, but you also don't want to be hurt anymore. Oh. So, and on top of that, you also, and this happens with women who sign up for these relationships with these men that are with other people. You want more than that. How you gonna say you want kids? How you gonna say you want somebody who prioritizes you and makes you important and does all these things, for all these things that you're saying that you would want? You're never going to get signing up for it this way. Wow. So you convince yourself that you can't have it. So you settle for this situation where you're always going to be second to 10th. And now you're trying to justify to me that you're happy about it, but you're also giving me conflicting information. So we're going to talk about all the conflicting information and also empower you to know that you can have more and that there is more out there. Maybe not with this man, but maybe with somebody else.
Wow. You know what, Dr. James, I told a patient once, maybe this was before COVID, maybe 8 years ago, when by the time she came in for her second visit, still in that assessment phase, I was just joking because I use humor a lot in my therapy. I said, you know what, you should just go ahead and pay your copay up front for the rest of the year, because we're going to be together for a while. And she said, I'm not going to be here. She knew I was just kidding. Dr. James, 8 years later, we're still trying to get her to that place where her self-esteem and her self-worth is there. And we joke about it on a regular basis. She said, oh my God, I should have given you that copay in advance. There were so many years of hurt, so many years of being dumped on, that in order, and people have said, Alfonso, if somebody's in therapy for years, maybe therapy isn't working, or maybe they should find somebody else. I said, that's an oversimplification of the process. They didn't get that way overnight.
Absolutely.
And in order to have a corrective emotional experience, you got to peel away so many layers. So many layers. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that people get into this a mindset of like, because all these relationship coaches on TV and on social media, they're like, oh, there's this quick fix. You just do this and you just do that. And it's like, no, because if it was that easy, their mama could have told them, don't do that, and they wouldn't have did it.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's a lot of layers of excuses and things that they believe that they've indoctrinated themselves with to accept certain things. And then they have to accept that some of the people that they loved and cared for may have done them a disservice by how they were raised or what they shared with them or what they led to believe that was normal. And I think that process is a lot more difficult than, just having a short conversation and just doing something different.
Yeah.
So you can't expect that you have been doing something for 15 years and then you're going to just change it overnight. That's just like the smoker, right? The smoker was, I could quit. Yeah, okay. They've been trying to quit for the last 5 years. And then when they do quit, the relapse is high. When they get stressed out, what do? They went back to the cigarette.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not that simple and easy to just say you're going to do something different when you've been using this as a coping skill, or you've been using this as a shield to protect themselves. Because like I said, a lot of women will use this as a way to protect themselves, because they're like, okay, I can't be hurt because I signed up for it and I know that he's with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I know, there's this whole this woman on social media was talking about that she got a life insurance policy on the man. I'm good, because I got a life insurance policy and I'm protected and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, but like I said, you have more conversations with them and they actually do want more. They're just not sharing that they want more because they have been kind of indoctrinated themselves with the fact that they settled and sharing that they're okay with this lifestyle that really is not the lifestyle that they would want because if they had a crystal ball and you could say, what lifestyle would you want? What would you want? And they choose. They want this whole other life that includes them being the number one person and maybe having kids and a white picket fence or whatever else. That's not what you saw. You're never going to meet that with this thing. It's highly unlikely.
Wow. And I'm so glad you're saying that, Kia. Just aside, my next book is already written. Her Vagina Is Not Your Therapy. This one is written for men. But people ask me, like, where do you get the inspiration from your books? Quite often, times like this, because Talon has already given me an idea about something. When a person has been hurt so much that they start to lose that feeling, that piece about them that makes them care about others. I would love. I got to get you back on, Dr. James. I want to talk more about that, but in the meantime, we're out of time. In the meantime, I got to get you back on because I want to do a part 2 to this. I love the energy. I love what you spit, and I'm telling you, it's still seared in my brain. Only 3% of people who are with a married person, only 3% of them leave their partner
to be with that affair person. 3%. So it's very unlikely that you are going to be chosen. It's like almost never. So I mean, if that's what you're signing up for, almost never to be number one, to be chosen, all that, like, continue on. But if you want something more, you're gonna have to exit stage left and do something different.
Yeah. Somebody said women become numb. I'll take a second. I'll say this, Dr. James, please, if you can respond too. I don't know if it's truly numb, more so than you just don't care anymore. Because to say numb means that you don't feel it. I think that the feeling is there, but you just learn to override it. What are your thoughts, Kia?
I would agree. It's just like you're okay with accepting this. Because this is all you got. Like, it's like all that you got left is the crust from the pizza. All right, I'll eat that. That's all that's left. Okay,
that's another, just the crust from the pizza. Oh. I love it.
So I don't think you're numb. You still probably really have wanted that, but it's just like I'm accepting this is what it is. It is what it is kind of energy. And we're just gonna roll with it. But when you start having deeper conversations about it, that's where the problem comes into play. And you start to kind of like think about what you're losing out on, what you really want. And I think that's where the spark to really do something different comes from, versus just being complacent and allowing things to continue.
Well, let me ask you, Dr. J, do you think, in your experience, do you think that, let's say that 3%, somebody is that 3%.
Yeah.
Do you think that woman ever has trust in that relationship?
Well, some of them do trust in the relationship. Now, should they? The answer is, now that is the real answer. You with somebody who cheated too, and you're with them now. How long do, because people they are who they showed. If they never thought that it was a problem, they got a relationship with you. When things get difficult, what do you think is going to happen? Because it's not like they're learning to do something different. It's not like they said, this was probably a problem from jump. No, I got a new person with it. I'm good. So sometimes I think that they trust it. And to me, it's like, okay, you have a high likelihood of having problems because you're with somebody who has normalized cheating as a strategy. And it's just a matter of time that strategy is going to be used on you.
Wow. Now, see, I tell them that up front. And once again, everybody knows me. I am no holds barred. You ring my bell, I'm going to answer the door. So they already know not to bring that bullshiggity in with me. But I tell them up front, there's an issue here. You're not going to trust that person. You're going to get hurt. And I've actually treated women who ended up in Laurel Hospital Psych Ward, because they tried to commit suicide when they found out that man doesn't care.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what I always say is 8 billion people on this planet. Surely you can find one out of that 8 billion who's not in a situation.
Right.
But 3%, even if you are in that 3%, the chances of that relationship lasting. I see you, Talana. What does that say about her character when that's all she wants? I'm not going to get into judging, and I hope what I say doesn't sound judgmental. I think it's what I said earlier, that, or somebody brought it up, that they've been hurt so many times that they now don't care. I think it's more about that, what everybody else is doing it. So let me not be the last one to the party.
Right.
I'm not going to say that they no longer have a moral center or anything like that. But I think it's what Dr. James said. If you just get the crust, you still eating part of the pizza. At least that's what my thinking is about it, Talana. All right.
Yeah, people don't want to be naive either. People don't want to be naive. So then that makes them feel like they're not naive either.
What do you
mean? I don't think that it's a character issue. I just think that sometimes people get into that whole protective mode of trying to make sure that they're not the one looking crazy or hurt, but ultimately engage in activities that cause hurt on the back end or in the long term, because they're not necessarily looking at the big picture. They're only looking at this temporary satisfaction that they're going to get.
Yeah. Well, Kia, I watch it again. I love going back and watch those old movies. What was that movie? Fatal Attraction.
Uh-huh.
I was a young man when that movie came out. Maybe 18 or 19. I was doing my thing back then. I was young and stupid. But that movie scared me, and I think a lot of men straight. That scene where Glenn Close boiled that rabbit, she was the other woman.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all who are still here, y'all who are of a certain age know that movie. I had been married a combined 37 years, 24 years with my ex, 13 with Bree. I've never one time cheated. Now that's the Christ part of me. I love my Christ, but also that movie,
Not the movie that scared you straight.
That movie scared me straight.
That is funny.
When you keep messing around like that, eventually you're going to run into somebody who you got more than what you bargained. There's a case not too far from where I live in Bowie last year, sad, but the woman murdered her husband. Found out, I think he worked, I may be getting part of this wrong. I think he worked as a bouncer. And I've treated bouncers and they collect panties. They collect panties at a strip club. She found out that he cheated and she murdered him. It's going through the whole legal system now. And this kind of goes back to what Talana's saying. For a man, it's just a vagina.
Yeah.
But that hurt woman who feels like, okay, people keep doing this to me. At some point when you're cheating, you run into that Glenn Close who ain't got no, Lorraine Bobbitt, yeah, Bree, who ain't got no problems with coming to your house and burning that rabbit. Or as Bree said, Lorena Bobbitt, when she cut
and tossed it. I'll never forget, and tossed it, okay? So, you know, you if you want to get cut up and tossed, okay, go on and continue.
Listen, it ain't worth it. As one woman said, she left my office. She said, Alfonso, the penis was worth it, and later found out it was not. My pastor used to always tell us there's a high cost for low living. And eventually, what would Joyce say? And I just watched Claudine the other day. She said a dirty pair of pants is better than no pants at all. I literally, Joyce, just watched that movie last week.
Oh my goodness.
And saw that scene on the bus where she was talking to the women. I don't know. I don't agree with that, but it is comical. My thing too is that cheating like that is like playing Russian roulette.
It is.
You never know when you're that other woman. You never know what that wife is capable of.
Yeah.
You never know. And like Ray Parker said, his song, The Other Woman, I know the rules of the game. You hit it once, then you break away clean. I'm saying don't go there at all.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not worth it. It's so not worth it. Dr. Kia, I have so enjoyed talking to you. Man, I wish Bree was on it. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot. Dr. Kia, I was playing checkers and she was playing chess the other day. So she got a brother. Man, Dr. James, can we get you back on the podcast and maybe have a part 2 to this? What say ye, as we say in the church world? Can you consider coming back and blessing us with this divine anointed stick that you've been hitting the mic with tonight?
I would love to come back. This is fun. Look, I haven't got to have fun with you like this in 100 years now.
Hey, look, guys, before I go, Dr. James and I worked on the psych ward at Laurel Hospital when the earthquake. I'm just saying. We were in the middle of the floor on the psych ward, and we felt the ground moving. We couldn't, there's a helipad on the hospital. I thought it was a helicopter. To come to find out, it was an actual earthquake. Kia looked at me. I looked at Kia. Look, on the psych ward, it's a locked unit. Kia, we were trying to get up out of there.
I was like, we got to go. We cannot stay here no more. I just remember the panic that because the one woman stood there, the one woman we work with, and she looked at the ceiling and she was like, the tiles are shaking. And I was like, oh no. Like, you acting like we supposed to be calm and it's chaos. I gotta go. That's that I just remember, like, no, what we're not gonna do is pretend like we just looking at the tiles. We got to go.
Yeah. It was like, okay, well, as staff, we have to assure patient safety and get everybody out here. You know what? I ain't about that life. I got kids to get home.
But technically, we weren't responsible for patients because we're not.
Look, it was like stop, drop, and roll up in there, man. It was like get up out of there.
That was bad.
Key, I so appreciate you. And before we go, Mary, can you please put that flyer up one more time, and also put the flyer up on my book, The Devil Has a Big ... It is on the Amazon's bestseller. The reviews that I have been seeing are absolute fire. I appreciate everybody who purchased your copy of the book. If you're on here and you read the book, please, the QR code is right there on the screen. Please get your copy of the book. I got ordered some extra so you can get your autographed copy. I'd like to think this is now my third book. I'd like to think that this was actually the best one. And you guys go to, I think, Mary, if you can put up Dr. James, the URL for blackmarriageweek.com again, I can guarantee you, and I mean no offense to anybody else, Dr. James does things with Black excellence. And I love that. And I don't put my endorsement behind everybody, but I guarantee you, if you want to really, really, really get your relationship going, please make sure you go and check it out. And Kia, you say there's a payment plan and everything?
Yep, there's a payment plan. So you can, if you go to blackmarriageweek.com and you go to the either one of the options, you can have there's a payment plan where it'll come out in increments. So by the time June comes, you'll be all paid up and ready to have a good time.
All righty. Well, hey, you guys, it has been my pleasure to be here with you this week. I'm not sure because I have stuff going on. I'm not sure if we're going to be on next week, but I want to do something on men's mental and physical health. I think that's going to be the next one that we do, but we're going to definitely try to get Dr. James back on the podcast. Man, I love her energy. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I hear that I may need to see an additional therapist in addition to the one that I have. So I don't know, Dr. James, I might be calling you for an appointment. I mean, I used to be your supervisor, so I think you owe me.
I can't.
But you guys have an amazing rest of your evening. And if nobody has told you today, let this retired pastor be the first one to let you know I really do love you. Not only do I love you, I'm absolutely positively madly in love with you. The other thing I like to say is if possible, reach down to help pick somebody else up. There is no greater feeling in life than the feeling of knowing that you have helped somebody else. The final thing I'll say is anytime somebody promotes a platform to you that's about picking yourself up at the expense of putting somebody else down, please reject that platform. You can have everything that God has for you without hurting anybody else in the process. Dr. James, anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, I appreciate you for having me. This was fun, and I can't wait to come back.
Oh, that's a commitment. It's a commitment. All right, let me end it before she changes her mind. Bye, everybody.